Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Woodbine Mohawk Park for night 2 of our 4-day stretch. Saturday night harness action is upon us with 11 dashes, all pacing dashes, as has been the theme on the past several Saturdays. And we've got pretty good looking conditions, other than the chilly temperatures, which yet again are in minus 14 degrees Celsius, 7 Fahrenheit. North wind that's clocked at 11 kilometers an hour. Shouldn't be much of a factor. But outside of all of that, things are looking great. Skies are clear. No precipitation expected in the area, so things look good. We're on a fast track, but the theme will be, again, with the cold temperatures. Keep that in mind for your wagering, that the horses are going to be out there to parade, and then they're pretty much going to be going to the gate a couple minutes after that. So not much time after they parade to see them out there before they're heading behind the gates, as we just try to keep everybody as warm as possible. Chad Rosema back here for night 2. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's going to be a bit of a different look out there tonight, as per usual, every time that we have this day, which happens to be the O'Brien Awards. They're hosted in London this evening. Good luck to all of the finalists tonight, and maybe we'll be able to update you everybody throughout the evening as well as to what's going on with those ceremonies. But they celebrate the best in Canadian harness racing here tonight, and we are going to be celebrating 11 dashes here tonight with a pretty good wagering menu as well. Standing by to talk about it, we've got Randy Waples and Lisa Blow in studio. Before we head there, let's get you caught up with tonight's program changes. Race number 1 kicks off the early pick 5, guaranteed at $75,000. Scratching the 10 PL Taco. Judges weather take out the 10 PL Taco from race 1. Race 2 is all clear, no changes. Third race, started the early pick 4. Scratch number 1, Shane's Dream. That's sick. Take out the 1, Shane's Dream. Pick 6 begins in race number 4. Number 5, Above My Pay Grade. Aluminum to steel shoes behind. Shoe change behind. Aluminum to steel on the 5, Above My Pay Grade. Fifth race, we've got a couple of series wrapping up tonight. First up will be the Blizzard Pacing Series Final, where number 1, Barb Leahy, will be going blinkers to a blind bridle. Blinkers to blind on the 1. The 3, DA Miss Universe, David Kelly's lone drive of the night, will now go to Travis Henry. Travis Henry picking up the drive on the 3. The 6, McJazz, steel to flip-flop shoes up front, steel to flops up front. And the also eligible number 11, Alexia, does not draw in. Scratch Alexia. We'll start tonight's late pick 5 in race 6 with no changes. 7th race, number 2, Dusty Lane Levi, removing the Murphy blind on the left. Inside Murphy blind removed on number 2, Dusty Lane Levi in race 7. 8th race is the Snowshoe Pacing Series Final and the start of our late pick 4. And just the note of the also eligible, 11, Corona Seals Drew, does not draw in. Scratch the 11. 9th race, open pace, number 2, Poseidon Sealster, removing blinkers. Remove the blinkers on the 2, Poseidon Sealster. Number 4, Cold Creek Queso, make the driver Tyler Borth. Tyler Borth now drives 4, Cold Creek Queso in that 9th race, open pace. 10th race, scratch number 1, Fire Control. Judges weather, take out the 1. Number 4, Twinbee Alliance, aluminum to steel shoes up front. Aluminum to steel on the front for 4, Twinbee Alliance. And race 11, we wrap things up at the Jackpot High 5. Our carryover into tonight, 108,000 plus. Number 4, Titanic Hanover, blinkers to a blind bridle. Blinkers to blind on the 4, Titanic Hanover in the finale. That's it for early changes. Thanks for joining us. Good luck with all your wagers. First of 11 coming your way in 41 minutes. Downstairs we go. Saturday edition of Woodbine Racing Live with Randy and Elisa.
The Woodbine Mohawk Park Racetrack is located within the traditional lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit of the Anishinaabeg peoples and the Haudenosaunee, on whose traditional territory we meet. Mohawk, our namesake, is one of the Haudenosaunee nations, Kanyen-Kahaka, meaning the people of the Flint. This territory is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee to peacefully take care of the land and resources around the Great Lakes. Woodbine Entertainment is honored to care for this land, our human and equine athletes, and provide a place to race responsibly that offers a meaningful way of life for thousands of Ontario families. Miigwech, Niawen, Kanaskomitin, merci, thank you.
Down fellas, still the best, 19 in a row. Motivated on focus.
They are rough and pacing.
This is the moment. Gotta one on my opponent.
McWicked on the outside.
Gotta get it, the mindset. Gotta put it in motion.
You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million.
Game time, that I'm coming in clutch. No hang time, and they can't keep up. The game's on the line. Seconds
Lean back. Get your picture taken.
Crowning moment on Canadian soil for Bulldog Hanover.
Motivated on focus.
A late push from Confederate. It's my show. Wins the big show.
This is the moment.
And happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Woodbine Racing Live. My name is Elisa Blow, and I'll be joined shortly by Randy Waples as we get set for the final Saturday program in the month of January. And I think a lot of us are going to be happy to see this month go away. January 31st today, but for a lot of people, it feels like January 89th. It's been a very, very long month with some horrible weather here in, of course, southern Ontario. But it looks like tomorrow things are going to warm up. We will get out of this deep freeze, but we're going to heat things up tonight. 11 races in store for you, including 2 finals, the final for the snowshoe, the final for the blizzard. That'll go as race number 5. Race number 8 will be the final for the snowshoe, and all eyes will be over at London as well this evening as we give away some big awards for the best in harness racing in the country. Let's bring Randy Waples in. And Randy, big night tonight, of course, with the O'Briens, and a great opportunity this evening for a lot of drivers to pick up some big wins tonight, because we don't have James, we don't have Louis, we don't have Bob, we don't have Jody. So great opportunities tonight for some other drivers to pick up some wins.
First things first, I have no idea how you get through those openings the way that you do. I could never do that. I'd be tripping over my tongue left and right.
Well,
I mean,
you know,
big applause to Elisa Blow for that. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole way I remember these nights when I first started to kind of get some success on the track or whatever. I mean, Doug Brown owned the award, so you knew he was going to be there, and he was the leading guy. But, you'd miss a lot of those guys. Brownie would be there, Condon would be there, Dave Wall, a few of the other top guys, and boy, did it ever look like an opportunity, you know what I mean? When you normally, maybe at that point, you would have been driving 4 or 5 in the night. Now you're down on a full card, and you're getting some of their drives, So, yes, that's definitely the way I would look at it, and I'm thinking that these guys are looking at it the same way, too, as a huge opportunity. Some of these guys have basically, in the last couple of months, have established themselves as Woodbine drivers, even though they've only been here less than a year. But a guy like Jason Ryan, who does a lot of his racing on the B tracks, now he's going to come over here and sit behind some power tonight with the potential of maybe winning a couple of races and that. I think it would be really, really a big thing for him.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
he's been around a long time. He's certainly paid his dues. So I think that that's exactly the way he would look at it, as this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, to shine tonight. And, for some of the others, I was thinking too, like when I was doing my handicapping for tonight's program, I thought, now if I've got a regular driver who regularly drives this horse that's back in tonight, as opposed to maybe a new driver picking up some of these horses for the first time, they might have a slight edge.
That's one way to look at it, right? I looked at it as I tried to pick who I thought could stay out of trouble, but could still be capitalizing on the end. In other words, I find some of these nights what happens is people try a little too hard. Then there's a lot of horses coming out of there. We see a big fast half, and then it seems like the horses that didn't leave are the ones that are able to pick up the pieces on the end of it. So that's kind of the way that I decided to look at it. I like the way that you're looking at it, sticking with the Woodbine regulars or the ones that are used to those horses. That's a smart way. My way is I'm just going to try to hopefully try and look for horses that I think can stay out of trouble.
Well, how many wins did Mr. Cullen have yesterday with Jody? They had quite a few. I think at least 3.
I think so,
yeah. So, they could be very dominant on tonight's program as well. And Jody Cullen is nominated for an O'Brien Award this evening, and we'll have our fingers crossed for her. And we are missing some of our regular barns tonight, too. For example, we don't have anybody in the open tonight from the Maneri barn, right? Because Dave's up for an O'Brien Award, so they're over there celebrating rating. So even in that race, you get some horses that maybe some that we don't normally see. Like, for example, some good old horses coming back to try the Open again here tonight. Dublin Dashers moving up for the Cullens to try the Open this evening. So that'll be fun. That'll go a little bit later on in the card as race number 9. And speaking of O'Brien's, we want to talk about some of the people and the horses, of course, who are nominated for the hardware this evening. And it's a big night.
Oh,
you know,
huge. Yeah.
This is Black Tie. They've come in from all across Canada. And of course, for it to be in at Western Fair is a real treat for them because, you know, we've got Greg Blanchard, who everybody remembers from his time here at Woodbine, who will be hosting. Mark McKelvey will be hosting the program as well. But it's a huge night and great weather for traveling, which is super because we were just talking about this, Randy and I. 2 years ago was the year they all got snowed in PEI.
Yeah. It wasn't such a great year for travel that
Not
year,
that
now, was
year.
it? No, and it is. And I mean, of all the weekends that we've had lately, this is probably one of our more clearer kind of a weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, a nice time to have them.
And you can stay there and the
Yeah.
whole thing, really enjoy
Yeah, for
yourself.
sure.
So we're just kind of flipping through some of the nominees for tonight. But the best part is we are going to be able to watch the broadcast live. I believe it's on YouTube if you'd like to watch it, but we'll be able to watch it ourselves, and we'll pass along the winners as we see them come through. Crackshot, of course, a nominee for this is kind of the glamour boy division, the 3-year-old Pacing Colts.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And very, very nice 3 deserving horses in there. My guess would be that we're looking at the winner on the top.
Yeah, Crackshot. He really did do a lot of great things for racing because every time he was entered, there were busloads of people coming in to watch him.
Yeah, for
Lots
sure.
of supporters, and that's always great. Caviar and Crackers. This is the older mare finalists are fun. I mean, because they're horses we see all the time here at WOMO. Caviar and Crackers, Grit and Grace, and of course the great Sylvia Hanover.
That is such a tough division, that one. That really is. You know, I mean, everybody's going to be really, really pushing for Sylvia Hanover, and I'm taking nothing away from her. But when you really look at what went on this year, and they always say who did the most for Canadian racing. I'm not saying that it couldn't be Caviar and Crackers and Grit and Grace because
Well,
they were both Cinderella stories.
Wouldn't that be fantastic for the Hensleys if
Yes.
that was able to come through? Brew Hanover, Calico Jack Hanover, Irvin Hanover. Your name's just got to have a Hanover in it to be nominated for the older pacing horses.
Seems to be, yeah. I think that there's going to be a bit of a slight push there for Irvin on that one.
And then, of course, we'll look at the trotters too that are up for awards, starting with the 2-year-olds. These are some nice horses. Bingo Knight, who won the OSS Super Finals, Flowing Tribute, another OSS star, and Storybook Love. That was a cool one, winning the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, talk about storybook, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's another really, really tough one. I mean, I wouldn't even want to guess which way that one's going to go because Storybook Love did a whole lot by winning the Breeders' Crown, but boy, Bingo Night, you want to talk about a feel-good story with the team Dustin, Tyler and his dad Dustin, I mean, that was really, really nice wins with Bingo Night.
And we'll keep flipping through because there's so many different things here. The 3-year-old trotting fillies.
Just
got,
another tough one.
Lasting Dream, Monalishi.
Yeah.
We are so spoiled, Randy, because we get to see these horses week in, week out. They're in our own backyard. But when the gang comes in from PEI, they really are here to enjoy the party. They're seeing some of the biggest names in horse racing here when they come to visit, and they always have a good time.
Yeah, like I've always said to you, that's the biggest thing about working at this track, in my opinion, and harness racing in North America. There's 2 main staple tracks, Meadowlands and here. And, we get the best horses in North America racing here.
We sure do. Grand Circuit helps out a lot, too. Bella Cavella.
Isn't that nice to see her get a call?
Nice little story. She's entered. I
Yeah.
can't remember if it's
Yeah.
tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
She just grinds it out
She
year
does.
in, year out. Call Me Goo and Emoji Hanover, who had that
Okay,
big
Goo.
win streak going. Older mares. Okay, sorry.
older
not
trotters?
Older boys, sorry.
Yeah.
I was out.
That's another tough
That's
one.
these are cool horses.
Yeah.
Amigo Volo, Logan Park,
Yeah.
Nazy.
I think you got to kind of maybe lean a little bit toward Logan Park.
Oh,
on
Logan's
that one as
been,
well.
he's so cool.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we get into the peeps.
This is getting really interesting now.
Remember when Doc Moore got his O'Brien, what was that, a couple of years ago, and it was a really big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now here he is back again, but you can't knock the season that Jody or Dave had.
No,
this to me is one of the toughest races on tonight's card.
You could go three ways in this one, and there's only three candidates. You know what I mean? I mean, really, like how do you differentiate with them? You know, really, really tough division there.
And then, of course, we look at drivers, and it's much the same. You got James McDonald, Louis Waugh, Bob McClure, who had a career season last year as well. So, you know, great categories, super drivers, all of which we're spoiled to have here.
Yeah, for sure. All three of those drivers, very, very deserving. But I can honestly say that there's one on there that I think is a little bit more deserving than the rest, but I'll just keep that to myself.
Horsemanship.
This is
Doc
always
Moore
my
up
favorite.
again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great award to give it out to people who are considered to be some of the finest horse people, we'll say. Jamie Gray, Carl Jamieson, and Doc Moore. Once again, you know, just great seasons for these people as well. Future stars. Now, this is a fun category because Damian McClellan, you and I got to see him have, I think, his first driving win here when it came last year.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you've been kind of chatting with him a little here and there. So that's a big move, to make the move to the big track and try it. Mary Ratchford is another fun story, too, because, you know, she's Todd's sister. And they kind of started having a lot of success together, I would say a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
But what a fun story that would be, you know, for Mary and her family. I remember when I think Mary and Todd won a race here a couple of years ago, and it was a really big deal because I don't think she had had too many winners here at Mohawk. And if the family was all over just celebrating and just overjoyed with the fact that they had a race that they were able to win at the biggest track in Canada.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Very, very exciting. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a sweep for the Maritimes. I think all those names are people that, you know, learned their trade in the Maritimes. I think Landon Campbell is down in PEI now. I'm pretty sure that it is. I'm pretty sure that he's Mark Campbell's son. Damian McClellan, obviously he came from the Maritimes, but, you know, a regular in Ontario now. Mary Ratchford, same thing. I'm pretty sure that her and Todd are originally from the Maritimes.
Really?
I think so, yeah. If not, then they have deep maritime roots.
Okay, and then, of course,
Lutz.
breeders.
There
And
you
we
go.
wouldn't be in the game if it wasn't for the breeders. Sealster Farms, Terra Hills Stud, and Winback nominated this season.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all three of them more than deserving, but Terra Hills to me is more of a little bit of a kind of a boutique sort
Right.
of
Operation.
operation. You know, you look at the Sealster Farms, 220 wins, you know, they're a powerhouse. Winback, you know, Terra Hills a little bit more boutique, but let's face it, in my opinion, they are the ones that bred the, you know, Metro Pace champion, and I think the horse of the year in Bojangles. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe that might lead to a sweep for Terra Hills. You know what's amazing is when you're in this all the time and you see it on the Sovereigns as well, sometimes just the connections of a super horse can sweep these awards.
Oh, they sure can. Yeah. Even
because
if you have one horse that you bred that's a superstar,
Yeah.
you can win not only
and
a
the jockey
Sovereign,
that
you can win
rode
an
him
Eclipse.
can win, the trainer that had him can win, you know, like it's just, it's amazing what one horse can do for you.
Can put you on the map, that's for sure. So yeah, we're looking forward to that tonight. And like I said, we'll be able to try and pass winners along to you as we see them, but we'll be busy because we have 11 races in store for you tonight here as well, including, like I said, a couple of finals, the Blizzard, the Snowshoe, and an open pace on tonight's program as well. Now, we've been looking regularly on Saturdays at some trainers who are going to be set up for a busy weekend, and this weekend we're talking about Victor Putty.
Yes, Mr. Putty only has the one in on Sunday, I think, but Saturday, tonight, he has quite a few horses in tonight, and we're going to take a look at them now. Now, the race one, Corona Sealster, is going to be my top pick in that race. I'm putting him up on top. Now, he's had some time off, so if he'd had one start under his belt, I'd have singled him in my pick 5, but I'm not going to take that route, but I do think he's the best horse in there. Early action in race number 3, I won't be using him in here tonight. Now, another one that Victor is bringing in a little bit light is Soaring Now. And this is a horse that can make his way easily up to the top class, and he's going to start back after his little layoff on the bottom class. So again, another horse that I'm going to put up on top, and I think that Victor could have a big night with him. Race number 4, unfortunately, he does draw the outside with Southwind Sambuca. I won't be using him, but he's back in to go, I think. I thought I seen his name, or a different one of Victor's was in to go with a better post position. I won't be using Legion Sealster in race number 6, and I won't be using Blazing Cruiser in race number 7, but that is a very interesting horse because he's been trained by Rod Hughes all along. He's a horse that's got a ton of speed and ability, and now it looks like there's been an ownership change on him, and he's going to go into Victor Putty's barn. I'm not going to use him. He drew the rail. I'm not a big fan of the rail sometimes, and you know, he's in pretty tough. First start in a new stable. But I'd give this guy a really, really hard look. I think he was racing really, really good for Rod, and I see it as a lateral move heading over to Victor. So I think that this horse is playable. I just won't be using him tonight.
So tonight, the other thing I think you're going to have to really look for are horses who maybe have missed some time because of weather. We allowed a lot of trainers to scratch out of races if they wanted to without penalty due to weather, because everybody has to ship in here, and the weather just hasn't been kind at all in the month of January, especially in the last couple of weeks when we've been in this cold snap. So just keep your eye on that as well, because there are some horses that have missed a little bit of time, and then there's other ones that are in their regular rotation that might just have a slight edge as we look at the card. Tonight, we'll start in race number 1, first race on the program, 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 1. Now, I thought that Hero Hanover, and I think you would agree with me, had a really good first start. That start on January the 17th. Now, he was not in last week, so he's back here today, but he gets a regular driver in Nick Boyd, and he had to hook up with some good ones. The winner, Run to the Hills. Now, I know he didn't race well last Saturday night, but he was nobody was going to beat him the night that he won, which was back on the 17th of January.
No, and he did have a bad race in his last race, but he looked like unbelievable in that first race. And that's when Hero had to take this guy on. I liked Hero. Is that where you went, Hero?
I did.
Yeah, I like him as well. I'm going to play against him, though. I got him in for second. I think that he's logical in there. There's no... Last week, he's 83 to 1, Elisa. What do you think he's going to be this week?
Not 83 to 1.
One even money, you know?
It could be second choice, yeah.
And that's what happens sometimes, is, you know, you love the way that they race the first time. You don't play them at those odds, but then the next week, unfortunately, you're not going to get those odds anymore.
No.
So I'm going to go Corona Sealster. Now, this is one we were talking about before about Mr. Putty. This guy showed me a ton of potential last year as a 2-year-old. He didn't win any races, but my goodness, for a horse that went over, boy, oh boy, did he ever do some good racing. And you can even look at, made the grassroots consolation on September the 25th, but he came up that lane. But look at the 2 races before that, racing in the Ontario Sire Stakes grassroots, and he comes a back quarter in 27-4 on the 9th. And then on the 18th, even though he did no good, he comes a back half in 54 and a back quarter in 26 and change, pacing a mile in 53. He's been there, which is a big advantage as a 2-year-old, that you've already seen the starting gate and you've seen how it works and that. So I think he's got an advantage for what he did as a 2-year-old. And to tell you the truth, when I was driving horses and I had a horse like him that didn't win as a 2-year-old, but there was some talent there, I couldn't wait till they came back as a 3-year-old, because it's amazing how their attitude can change. They go from, you know, I don't want to win this race, and I don't want to go buy that horse, to let me at him.
Well, they mature,
and,
you know, and they grow.
So that's where I'm going to go with him, but I like your pick.
Now, I will say that the first-time starter is getting some early support here, and that is the 6 horse who, for my mom and dad who are watching in Paris, Kentucky, this is a hunch play. Now, let's hope it floats up. Cardinal Creed is the horse's name, and they are being bombarded by Cardinals on their bird snap.
Yeah.
Anybody was looking for something exciting to do, a bird snap is it, right, Randy?
This is it, absolutely.
Randy's bought at least 5 of them now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm going to put a big screen right up on my TV or on my ceiling. When I'm sleeping, I can watch the birds.
Race number 2 is where we head to next. Non-winners of 16 to 50 in their last 4 starts. And this is an interesting field. It's only 6, but any one of the 6 could pop up and do it. I went to our old buddy Jabberwocky. I don't think it's cold enough for the beaver coat tonight. I mean, it could, maybe tonight might be the what would you say, the fond farewell to it. But it would be nice to see it in the winner's circle with Jabber here, because we know he's been plagued over the years with foot issues, right? And he had a good race last start. We weren't expecting anything in that open race. It was a tough spot for him on the comeback, but I think tonight could be his night.
Could be, yeah. Now, I obviously, you know, my big thing in my life is people speak to me and it goes in one ear and as my mother would say, quickly goes out the other, you know. But if am I not mistaken, wasn't Rick going down to Florida while Scott and Megan Scran came up for the O'Brien Awards?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I think that Ricky is probably down in Florida right
Also,
now.
the beaver
there's
coat's put away
beaver
for the
coat-
year.
No beaver coat down there tonight. A Jabberwocky, good pick again. He, in my opinion, he is the one to beat. Miraculous Desby has shown us a lot of ability, but still yet to fire into the winner circle. Where Jabberwocky, we know that he knows how to win races. 6 for 21 last year, 20 wins lifetime. But I'm going to go Get Wings up on top. I've been consistently since the valedictory writing beside his name, best, the best, the best. Last week or 2 weeks ago, January the 18th, he had 16 days off from the final of the valedictory. Comes up into a very salty class. Non-winners of 12,000, more or less what we're looking at here in here tonight. And I laid off him, but boy, did he ever have a good third in there at 10-1 in against, you know, Pincino, Hanover, Major Perry. Next week, I played him on top, dropping into the non-winners of 9,000. He didn't just win Elisa, he annihilated them. I mean, you know, if it was a fight, they would have stopped it. So now he gets Paul McKenzie, who knows him better than anybody, trains him, did give him all of his early lessons. Now he's going to ship into town here, and I think that Dirty Lou is going to find himself in the winner circle after race number 2.
Well, he swept the valedictory, so he's looking for yet another win. It's been a
nice
very
horse.
good season. Very good season.
This is a very nice horse. Yeah, good job, Paul.
Let's go to race number 3. Third race on the card is where we kick off the first pick 4 of the evening, and a significant scratch in this race with the one horse Shane's Dream being a 6 scratch. So just keep that in mind. When you see 6 scratches from barns, it kind of makes the light bulb go off, because as Randy and I know, and anybody out there who's a horseman understands, once one gets sick, tends to sometimes go through the barn or at least the
They're like
stalls
kids.
beside them. They are like kids. Yep, you got that right. Snotty. But and that's what causes it. HF's Pan Shadow is the Osceola horse that's in here. And I thought originally that Carmen had a pretty solid 1-2 punch with the 1 and the 4. But are you a little concerned putting the 4 horse up on top because of the 6 scratch from another Osceola horse?
It bothers me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I threw him in for third. He's racing good, but he's not dominating. I think a couple of those wins were his last one by a head, 2 of them by a nose. I think he's kind of like, he's either incredibly smart and knows how to just lay his nose on that wire in time, or maybe he's getting a little bit lucky. Like if somebody has, say, some real serious power on the end of it, could they pick this guy off when he's looking to win the race by a head or a nose? And then you bring in what Elisa said as well. You know, if one's sick, there's pretty good chance that there's more sick. A lot of these horses ship around together. They're in the paddocks together. They're side by side in stalls. It's really easy for one to get it and then just go right through your barn, and it will decimate. So I went looking for horses that I thought maybe, like I said earlier in the night, could stay out of trouble and be, you know, good to go on the end of it. So HF Pan Shadow, have him in for third. Now, Vertical Squirt was absolutely flying on the end of it in his last start for Malik Smith and James McDonald. He's picking up Thiessen tonight, which that doesn't bother me in the least. But what does bug me a little wee bit, even though he raced so well, is that number one, he is leaving the 19,000, you know, the 20 claimer, let's say, moving into a tougher class, a 30 to a 40. But he also is coming in with a little bit of a date missed, and that kind of bothers me because he qualifies on the 12th, comes back 6 days later with a nice win where he did nothing but sit last, and then misses a week, and that kind of bugs me a little bit, so I'm going to throw him in for second. Now, let's take a look at the replay on Sometime Somewhere, who's going to be my top pick in this race. He's getting his old sweater back, J.R. Plant, and this guy is racing really well for Brett Lester. So let's take a look at Sometime Somewhere's legs on the end of it. And this is in the same class. You can see him right now on the outside, third over. Another thing that I kind of like about him too, he's not just doing his race and sliding up the inside. He's doing a little bit of work on the outside of it. But I think that JR, who's only drove this guy in his last 3 starts, but look at this. He's had a third, a fourth, and a fifth. This horse is getting better and better each time. And look at him drafting Jody at this point. He knows that this horse is a little bit of a hanger, and he's going to wait and wait before he takes his chance on him. Now, he slides slides off of Jody's helmet, and here he come. And he come hard. But he's not going to get there. Again, HF Pan Shadow, but look at the run out. He's by him. I think at some point, JR is going to get the best of him just because of what Sometimes Somewhere is bringing. 10-1 morning line, 13-1 last week. I'm hoping that I can get, what are we looking at? Oh, 9-1. That's not bad. I'll take that.
All right. So, you know, again, the other horse I think we just quickly touch on, I know you mentioned Vic Putty off the top of the show tonight, but Early Action goes first start off. The claim for Vic Putty has an excuse from the last race too, and you and I saw it. It was broken head pull, I would say around with the 16th left to go, right? That head pull, because we could see it when they were coming down the stretch, just kind of dangling
on the
there.
inside.
On the inside.
So you would have to think if he's got a head pull on the inside and he needs it, he was probably touching that right line. And so that means that Tyler's not going to be able to ask him for everything he's got.
Right.
He could be better tonight, and you're getting a barn change with him. But what's scary about him with me is the fact that he's just now leaving Osceola's barn. And if he does have some sickness in his barn, this guy could be coming into Victor's barn and bringing it with him. So,
Never fun.
you know, you never know what's going to happen, but I do think that the horse is playable in here.
Let's go to race number 4. Fourth race is where we kick off the pick 6 for the night tonight. Non-winners at 2,500 in their last 4 starts. Now, we have a putty horse in this race that looks kind of interesting, and that's Soaring Now. And you talked about that one because he's raced against some really good horses here. You know, Tarasi, Bruhanover. He's been against some of our best horses in the Open. And he makes a comeback tonight. He hasn't raced since December the 20th, where he was pulled up in that event. Not something you always see on a horse's chart line. So pulled up, wasn't able to finish the race. Qualified on January the 3rd and finished 4th in the qualifier. And it's Tyler Borth who gets the call here tonight with him. So he's kind of new now to Soaring Now, but in against this class, non-winners of 2,500, he kind of looks like a bit of a fox in the hen house.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a horse that you're in a really difficult situation here, because even though he's coming in with a little bit of a stale date, and even though the qualifier is not, you know, ooh la la, who in here really looks like they're a deeper animal? I don't see it. You know, I mean, Above My Pay Grade made 114,000 last year, but a lot of that was racing in claimers and stuff like that. So he had a really, really good year. But Soaring Now made 110,000, in my opinion, the hard way. And look at that speed badge, 47 over our track. You know, there's a lot to like about him. Interesting. So he races in the or he comes back in his qualifier November the 29th, and it's a really, really nice qualifier. Then he comes back December the 5th, basically on a 6-day rotation, and this time he finishes second in there, but in against Miraculous Desby, you know, who's showing some, you know, ability at the top class. So that's not bad getting beat by him. First start in the Open, he open class. You know, I could see going to the back from the 7 hole. You know, taking back a few lead from the outside. You find yourself sitting last. Not a bad race. You know, he finishes 10th in there. Then he drops into non-winners of 9,000, and it says pulled up choke. Did not finish. My opinion is the horse was way too good for that bunch. He was probably in a situation where he couldn't get him to the outside, or he was trying to let a horse go and ended up snuffing him. The horse ended up choking, has a little bit of time off, not much, you know, December the 20th to January the 3rd. Now here we go again. Qualifier, you know, Jordy N, not a bad horse. Powertrain, not a bad horse. Nazaire, not a bad horse. I don't really mind the qualifier. And the biggest thing is we're not looking at Soaring Now off that qualifier. Can he race in the Open? Can he race in non-winners of 9,000? No. We're looking at him. Can he race in non-winners of 2,500?
Right.
I say that he's a single.
Yeah, and you know, like that's exactly what I was saying. A fox in the hen house. Whereas, like, say, My Ultimate Snowy might get some play. I wrote down ready with a question mark, because that qualifier is huge. I mean, wins a qualifier by 7 in a good time too, 56-1. But I don't know if we're necessarily ready to rock tonight.
Yeah, that's the whole thing too. You know, sometimes Paul Court, though, even though his horses seem like they're ready, he will give them an easy one the first start, or the driver will, and then boom, they're ready to go. You know, last night we seen the same thing. L.A. Mickey, I think her name is.
Right, from the Paul Court barn.
Yes.
They had a nice winner
First
on
start,
the program.
not too bad. Second start, capitalization.
Exactly. If there was 2 qualifiers there, then I'm
That's
okay.
different, right.
Let's go to the fifth race. This is our first final on the night tonight. 2 finals this evening, the Blizzard and the Snowshoe. And the Blizzard goes for a purse of $34,000 for 3 and 4-year-old fillies and mares. And in this spot, I mean, some of the tough horses, I think, have the worst post positions to work with. Cobra Kate with the 8-hole tonight. Travis Cullen, who is going to be back driving this one. In fact, Travis could have a really good night tonight. He could win both of the finals. He's got this horse, Cobra Kate, and he's got RB's Tenacious T in the Snowshoe final. Let's Enjoy is a possibility. This horse was a winner, but does get Jason Ryan tonight. Not a big deal because Jason knows this horse. He drove him at drove her at Flamborough, and then another tough outside post position for the 10, Marlene's Legacy. She's been drawing some great, 2-holes lately, and now tonight she's on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, and picks up McNair.
Yes.
And in my opinion, this is a horse that Dougie would really fit well. I think that she plays a little bit of possum, a little bit of laziness maybe in her. I think Dougie would. She would benefit from Dougie in here. Where did you go?
I went to Cobra Kate, and again,
good
I just, it's kind of like our boy there in the Snowshoe that we like as well. This horse has just, been getting better and better, and I mean, Travis Cullen, you can't knock the kid.
Yeah, the confidence, for her is getting very high. I put her in for 4. That's a really, really good pick, and that I just went looking for value again. Okay. I think that Cobra Kate is just sensationally good right now, but unfortunately, a lot of people are going to think that she's that good right now.
You're not going to get a price.
I think she's giving you the winner, you know what I mean? But I don't think that if she does win, you're going to get much of a dollar.
She could be a key if you're playing, multi-wagers.
I went looking for a horse that I thought that maybe was coming in here, maybe just a little bit quiet, but has the ability to maybe stoke it up when it says final. And I also kind of looked to where I thought... maybe I'm showing a little bit of bias, but as somebody that I drove for that always had the unique ability to have a horse much better for the final than the eliminations, what they were going into. So I settled on the 5-horse Shuri is where I'm going to go here. I like the way that she raced in the maiden. I liked her the first time in non-winners too because she had an outside post. They just took her to the back. She ended up finishing 4th, but only beaten 3/4 of a length. And who beat her? DA Miss Universe, who's going to be one of the favorites in here. Who was 3rd in there? Barb Leahy, who also is going to take a little bit of support in here. Then when she went into the Blizzard, they kind of changed things up. They started to kind of leave a little bit more with her, and she didn't seem quite as good on the end of it. Although the one time she did come 27 and change on the end of it, even after leaving from the 6-hole on bad tracks. But here's where I'm going. I've drove horses for Jason Libby before, and he always had the innate ability that even if they weren't real good one week, he could have them really, really good the very, very next week. I don't think he overdoes it in between. So let's take a look at Shuri's last race. I didn't think it was a bad race. She has the 5-hole. She does a big leave out of there in 28-2, and you can see it just wasn't a good night. The track was bad. -16, I think they have it down as. So, just not a really, really good night. Now, she is in the 2-hole, and she is going to tire a little bit. But here's where I'm going with that. I think it took a lot out of her to get to that spot on that night. And again, I don't think that Jason is going hard on her every single start. I think he's going to pick and choose his moments. This is a 3-year-old cattle wash. She will be racing probably grassroots and Ontario Sire Stakes at one point. I think that Jason is going to have her cracking good in the final. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised too if enough horses were barreling out of there, maybe Tyler might not want to leave just as much, and he can get himself into a little bit better spot, like the time on January the 9th, where she got away 9th and was only beaten 3/4 of a length at the end of it.
Well, there's some changes in this race to pass along your way as well. Travis Henry will drive the 3, and that's DA Miss Universe. We got that change earlier on. Blinkers to blind for the 1, Barb Leahy, and Steel to Flops up front for the 6-horse McJazz. That broken equipment would that be last week on the 23rd, was a shoe. So that's your changes that you need in race number 5. We'll skip the 6th and go to the 7th. 5-year-olds and younger, non-winners of 3 or 60,000 life, and a field of 9 to go in here. And here is a great opportunity to see the Cullens in the winner's circle. They've got Blue Bar, and they have really been setting the bar and setting it high here. Now, I'm only hanging around on Saturdays and Sundays, but it feels like whenever I show up to work here, I see the Cullens go in the winner's circle at least 3 times a night. And last night was no different. They were in the winner's circle 3 times consecutively, back to back to back.
Yeah.
And now they've got Blue Bar here, and the horse was a winner a couple of starts ago, back on January the 17th. Last start out, ends up finishing in 5th. But how do you beat this barn right now? They are, as Randy would say, cracking good. So I would use the 6. Magical Bet is another horse that's interesting. Had a nice win last start out, and you wanted to talk about that one.
So you went Blue Bar?
I went 6-5.
Yeah, okay. So I'm using Blue Bar, but I'm going to go Magical Bet. Couple of things with this one. So look at this very, very bottom line on December the 12th. They're in the valedictory. Tough horses. Get Wings, who I'm using up on top in a much tougher class than non-winners of 3. So here's Magical Bet. Makes big power move in the middle half. You know, he's at the half. He's off by 7.5. 3/4 pole. He's only off by 3/4 of a length. Big, big move in there. Third quarter, 27-3. Almost seals the deal. The only one that was able to beat him was Get Wings, and I'm really high on this Get Wings. But look at who he beat in there that couldn't get to him. RB's Tenacious T, and stick around, we're going to be talking about RB's Tenacious T a little bit later. So then, all of a sudden in the valedictory, even though he's got James on him, he starts making breaks. And in my opinion, I think he was just a little too sharp. It seemed to me like he wouldn't relax, and he'd get muscled up and then more or less doubled up, and then he'd end up making a break. Not because of anything other than the fact that, in my opinion, he was really loaded at that time, every time he made a break. So then they change some equipment on him. They take him back to the early morning races, and somehow or not, this guy has learned something in that one little change, because now he's sitting back quietly, and then boom, second by a head, fires home in 28-1. Next start, he sits way back with him, McClure, comes flying on the end of it, finishes second in there on a dirty, dirty night, and ends up last quarter in 28. Now look at last week. 8-hole, goes right to the back and is a winner. So we're going to show you this replay of Magical Bet. And what I'm going with him is I think that he was a horse that, you know, back in December, you'd have easily had him up on top, but then his lines got bad. But now his lines are starting to look good, and there was an equipment change in between. So let's take a look at Magical Bet. And again, great steer by McClure here. You know, really, really nice steer, nice learning steer by Bobby here. Going to pick up Tyler Borth, but, you know, Tyler, I think, will get along with this guy every bit as good. Now look at McClure, stays to the rail all the way around that turn, gives up all that ground, and now he's going to let this guy sizzle. And sizzle he does, because he is going to make up a ton of ground on the end of it, and he's not going to go by 1 or 2 of them. Guess what? I'm going to go by the whole field, and he's got the so much more ear pin going on as well. You know, come get me, boys. So now this is, to me, a horse that has shown dramatic improvement since that qualifier. Now he draws middle of the gate. I know he's losing McClure, but I have no problem with the driver that he is picking up. So Magical Bet is the way that I am going to go.
All right, that is race number 7 on tonight's program. Let's flip over to race number 8, because this is the Snowshoe Pacing Series final. And on that first night of snowshoe eliminations, which was January the 17th, you and I said to each other, that's it, this is the horse. He has stamped himself. RB's Tenacious T is the horse to beat. And the next start last week on January the 24th, he looked even better than he looked on January the 17th. So one would kind of expect he'll look really good here tonight in this final. Travis Cullen and Jody Cullen will be sending this one out here this evening. I just kind of wonder if Jody will come here tonight, or if she will go to the O'Briens.
I think she's dressing up.
I have a
funny
funny
Travis's
feeling.
sister's in London.
That's right. That's right. Jody's sister's in town too, so
Yes.
maybe she's here to run the show.
be.
But they've got a really super guy in this spot who looks to try and sweep the series here tonight. But who could be the fly in the ointment?
I think Tulsa King. I think he showed the most. You know, they switched him to flops. He accepted them, raced good, had a win, and then was scratched in his last start. So even though he missed a little bit of time, I think that he can get the job done. I think Booker Seelster with McNair and him winning last week there, he's going to take a lot of support. But I think Tulsa King's every bit as deep as the one horse, and maybe he won't take quite as bit of support. But Arby's Tenacious T. Now, let's show the replay on this, because I got a question for you and Miss Blow. And this is all due to the fact that we've talked about this guy before. And we said, you know, the longer he races in this series and beats these horses up, the more confident he will become. So I'm going to ask you, because you used to run very big thoroughbred stables. Did this not happen to you where you find a class for a horse that he just starts to absolutely get more and more confident every time he wins?
Well, confidence is deadly, isn't it? And, you know, don't you find, too, and you and I have been around lots of great horses, they have a swagger to them.
Yes.
Once they start winning, it's totally different than a horse who's losing all the time. And some people just don't understand that. A horse that's losing all the time will sulk and pout and just isn't feeling very good about themselves. A horse like this could be a little rambunctious sometimes in the morning. He knows what his job is. I just find, for lack of a better word, when they get cocky, they find themselves in the winner's circle.
Seems to be. That's the big thing. Confidence. And like you said, a lot of people don't understand that out there, but it is the biggest, one of the biggest things with horses.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching a documentary today, and they were talking about confidence. It was about confidence. And they were using figure skaters as an example. And they said, you know, to show that we were extra confident, they'd have a warm-up, and everybody else is out there jumping and spinning, and they'd just go and just power skate, just skate around, you know, just showing their confidence. I don't need to practice. I don't need to jump anything. I'm good, right? And it's that swagger that you have, and it works up here too, right? So it's not just for humans; it's for horses as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's the biggest disconnect that sometimes we have as bettors and you know, fans even, or owners. You know, you know, they're a lot like us. Every day isn't going to be their best day.
No.
You know?
Nope. Some days they have a headache.
That's right.
Just like you and me. Let's go to race number 9. Normally it's when you put those braids in way too tight.
I feel the same way.
Oh, yes. I always, you know what? I think that there are some horses, especially in the thoroughbred game, will braid them, right, when they come over. And it looks lovely for the picture. But if you pull them too tight, you can give them a bit of a headache. Just wear some pigtails yourself, Randy, like you used to, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So the 9th race is an open pace. And, of course, we don't have Brew Hanover. We don't have my new best friend, Mr. Saturday Night. And we don't have Pacino Hanover from last week. So what do we do now? Do we just, like I said, it's to me, you got Cullen with 2 horses in this race. She's got Blue Hunt, the 3, and she's got Dublin Dasher, who's moving up. Now, Dublin Dasher came home pretty quick there last week and won quite easily. This is where you find Travis, and sometimes you go, well, I'll go where Travis goes, but I'm going to go where Billy Davis goes and take Blue Hunt instead, because this horse, I thought, raced incredibly well last start out.
That's exactly where I'm going to go as well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that everybody's going to really be pushing towards Tarasi.
Right.
Short field, you know, but the problem is that he right at his very best right now? I don't know. Last 2 starts, I don't know. He came back like he was really good. Last 2 starts, I'm not 100% sure, but Dougie's fooled me many times before, so maybe he fooled me again tonight. But the replay that we're going to show is Blue Hunt, and I agree with Elisa. Dublin Dasher was huge in his last start, but that was in the non-winners of 13 level. Now he's going to be in the open. If you look down his lines, the last time he had a big win like that, that was in non-winners of 9,000. I think he's a little bit more win candidate in that kind of a category as opposed to being right up in the open. Now, again, as Elisa said, it's not the deepest open that we've experienced in the last couple of weeks, but Tarasi's deep, and let's take a look at Blue Hunt. And again, I love the idea that, you know, the fact that you're onto the fact that more or less Travis goes what I think is the best one of his barn, but not every time. And I don't think he did it this time, as right here, he's going to look over and watch Billy go on by him right now on the end of it, and yet Billy comes back on the wire, or comes back to the next week. I'm sure that Travis could have easily went with well, no, actually, I think he's a part owner of A1, so he might have to go with Dublin Dasher. But regardless, they're both really sharp horses coming out of a really sharp barn, and I agree with you. Blue Hunt is the way that I'm going to go.
I thought they might go pretty quick up front, too, because you got horses like Salzbrook Victor, who likes to go to the front end, Poseidon Seal Steelster gets really confident when he's up on the front end too, and then could set up really nicely for hers to come from out of it.
Victor was originally the way I was going to put him up on top. He was the way that I was going to go, but the only thing that bothers me a little bit about Victor just seems that right now, like when he cuts miles, he doesn't necessarily seem like he wants to finish them off.
Well,
And
last
if you
week
don't,
was his opportunity
right?
too.
And if you don't want to finish your mile off, do you really want to have a blue hunt coming up in your rear view mirror with
They
his
beat him.
wheels?
Yeah,
Nah,
exactly.
no
And
thanks.
Dublin Dasher, who beat him last week, is here tonight against
Right.
him. All right, let's go to plays of the night. Okay, we're not gonna do the 10th. Just a reminder before we do plays of the night, though, the 11th race, the Jackpot High Five, it's a good one because that is really growing. We're at 108,792 for the Jackpot High Five, and a horse that I think Randy's probably got as one to watch. That I've got too is Titanic Hanover, who goes first start off of the claim tonight for the Jason McInnes barn. He was really interesting when making his first start here from coming out west. What do you got for your top 4 tonight?
Okay, so I'm going to start off in race number 3, and my worth a look is going to be Sometime Somewhere. We did show you that replay of him, big wheels on the end of it. Beat the favorite is going to be Shuri. I do not see her as being the favorite in the Blizzard, but I do think that she can win. All in is going to be RB's Tenacious T, just a horse that's brimming with confidence, coming back to the same bunch of horses that he's been beating up on. And my Waples Watch is in the open, and that's going to be a blue hunt.
What did I send in? I got good old Jabber to win the second race on the program. I think he's ready to go. Cobra Kate is my first series sweep. I've got my second series sweep being RB's Tenacious T, and Blue Bar, like I said, live barn right now, that Cullen outfit. And we wish Jody and her team all the best of luck tonight at the O'Brien Awards as she is up for Trainer of the Year. Want to remind everybody that we have racing tomorrow as well. Sunday racing cards are here to stick around. Plays of the night here from Ghislaine Paquette. I would imagine Ghislaine, Kevin Plaucha, Barnsdale, they're probably in their black ties tonight.
Yeah, I would have to think there's going to be a few of them down there anyway. Guess what I just got sent to me?
What'd you
You're
get?
always showing me texts from your parents. Here's one from my father. So obviously Doc Moore's in London tonight for the O'Brien Awards. Ron Waples sends me this text. Bojangles, not a bad catch drive for an old fella. Guess who sat behind Bojangles today?
I guess I know who, because doesn't your dad... He helps.
Same training center.
And when he goes away, he steps in to take
helps
his place.
whoever needs to.
Because I kind of remember too when Doc Moore got stranded, right in PEI, your dad had to
He was doing
do a lot of extra work.
Yeah, he's my dad's Doc Moore's go-to guy. But I cannot wait to hear what his synopsis on Bojangles is, because he's been a huge fan of that horse right from the very beginning.
Horse racing fans in general, if you're a standardbred horse racing fan here in Canada, wouldn't you just like to go and have lunch with Ron Waples and Doc Moore? I mean, think of the stories you would hear. And I think 90% of them would be true.
True. Might be some profanity in there.
Alrighty, we have 11 races in store for you tonight. Looking forward to it. A couple of finals this evening, the Blizzard and the Snowshoe. And don't forget about the Jackpot High Five in the last race on the program. That carryover is growing more than $108,000. First race comes up for you shortly.